Hi, my name is Larissa Diarra, and I am a junior applied science engineering major at Michigan State University. When I was a kid, I wanted to be like my childhood pediatrician, Dr. Abraham. She was very caring and passionate about what she was doing, and I remember before she'd come in, I loved to examine her tools in the room and just look at the different diagrams and posters of different birth cycles on the walls. I just remember being so interested in this medical world, and I felt like, okay, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. And obviously that changed, but when I was younger, I definitely wanted to be a doctor like my Dr. Abraham. And a time that I had to work with someone who was hard to work with, my previous job at Kumon, I had a coworker who was very temperamental, and she felt like the way that she did things was the right way and the best way to do things. And she was always trying to micromanage everyone else that worked a shift, double checking what people had already graded, on several occasions. And just in dealing with someone who felt that they were so above everyone, I simply kept my distance to avoid and avoided any types of confrontation, because obviously this was a professional setting and it's best to, remain professional. And if we needed to talk outside of work, we could do that. There was one time in particular, I did pull her to the side and I said, hey, remember, we're all here because we were hired to do this job because we are all qualified to do it. So just know that there is really no need to micromanage everyone. And if you did, have concerns or wanted to talk to us individually, let's do that outside of the workplace. And we were able to do that, and it just created a more, a less pressuring, toxic work environment that everyone was comfortable being in. So 3 things that I find very important in a job. The first thing would be communication, especially between coworkers, mentors, supervisors, just so that there's a sense of transparency and efficiency, especially in a team-based setting, and just knowing everyone's on the same page so that there's lack of confusion, and just so no one's in the dark, and there's always okay, this is what needs to get done type of situation. The second thing would be inclusion. Feeling a part of a whole and being included is important to me, because it makes for a more open-minded work environment where everyone's obviously can feel included and comfortable with, addressing their ideas or any concerns that they may have. The third would be a challenge. I love things that are mind stimulating and, get you thinking, and whether it be project-based or individual, just knowing that, hey, there's this particular task that needs to be completed by this deadline, and it kind of makes it all more, an adrenaline rush, okay, we've got to get this done by this time, whether it needs to be maybe it needs to be completed a certain way or with added creativity, but just knowing that there's a challenge, a task that needs to be completed, I really do enjoy. An occasion where I had to use logic to solve a problem was I had just gotten my senior pictures taken in a nature area in Ann Arbor, and I was driving my dad's old Honda Accord. And at the end of the shoot, I went to start the car, and it did not start. And I knew that the car was having battery issues, so I was like, okay, let me try again. So I tried again. I tried to start the car again, and it did not start. And that's when I realized that I had left an overhead light on. It had been on for about an hour and a half, so it drained the battery. And my phone did not have service because I was in this nature area. The woman that took my photos, she was gone. So I was there by myself, and I knew, okay, I have this challenge that I need to address. Instinctively, I was like, okay, there's jumper cords in the trunk, so that is taken care of. The next thing was I need someone to help me jump the car. So I decided to wait. That was, the best thing that I could do in that moment. So I waited for about 10 to 15 minutes, and luckily someone did come by on the dirt trail, like the dirt parking lot, and she was willing to help me jump the car. The only thing was I had never jumped a car before and she had never jumped a car before. But we were like, okay, we need to figure this out. So she asked if I had like a manual. So I checked the glove box. There was a manual, but there was no instructions on what to do to jump the car. So we got the cables out. There was a black cable and a red cable, and we opened the hood of the cars. In the Honda, obviously, there on the battery, there was a black port and a red port. So I thought, okay, the logical thing to do even though I had never done this before, would probably be to put the black cord in the black port and the red cord in the red port and hope for the best. So that's what we did. She started her car. I went to turn the key, and soon enough, obviously, the car did start. So that was definitely a learning experience. It was one of those times where it's like, okay, we gotta kind of use some logic here to get this problem solved because we don't have that many options. So, we did that, and it was really nice to have that experience under my belt. Now I know how to jump a car. The first thing that I ever designed was an arcade game for an engineering expo at my senior year of high school. And I was tasked with creating a game that used a series of circuits to operate the game. So within like a wooden frame, I built a ball slot machine that was basically like reverse skee ball, in which at the top, 2 players would insert a gumball in the designated slots, and then there were wooden knobs within the wooden frame that the balls would travel through, and the first gumball to reach a slot would then hit the switch that was connected to wires, and that would activate a light which indicated the winner. So it was a pretty simple design overall, but just, I had never really worked with circuits in that sense, and I built the machine from scratch and connected the wires inside so you couldn't see them. And it was a fun experience, and getting it out on the expo was also like very rewarding. People were able to play it. It was really nice. So I am open to locations, especially in Michigan. I'm usually in between Lansing and Ann Arbor, and I will not require a sponsorship. Thank you.